Kornheiser, I hope not. I owe Ted Williams money.
Oh, see, now why you gonna take a cheap shot at the greatest hitter who ever lived?
Let's just establish this right now.
What?
I'm playing hurt.
Okay.
I got a cough, bad cough. I got a cold. I got my infirmary right here. I got my lozenges.
You don't have the most important thing.
I got my throat spray.
You're missing the most important thing.
Somebody else to do the show.
Wilbon's chili.
That
would put you over the top.
It actually put me over the desk, and I throw up into that little well over there. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Steelers flop. The Jags may be a little too confident, and Nick Foles comes through. But we begin today with the Minnesota Vikings victory that could not possibly have happened. Drew Brees threw 3 touchdown passes in the second half yesterday and had the Saints 10 seconds away from victory. Then Case Keenum threw to Stephon Diggs, and inexplicably, Saints safety Marcus Williams whiffed on a tackle. Dick kept running untouched to the end zone. Wilbon, is it fair to put this loss on Marcus Williams?
Sadly, yeah. Yes. This is what occasionally happens in sports. You have these singular plays that I guess if they happened in the first quarter, you would just say, well, that happened early in the game. If it happened at the end of the half, you'd say, well, they had some time to recover. This is the play. This goes back to somebody I'm very fond of. You were there for this game, for Fred Brown at the end of that game, Georgetown, North Carolina, allowing for Michael Jordan's game when he shot. This happens. Bill Buckner. You have these things once every day, immaculate reception. So it's not singular, but oh my God, Tony, that's the only phrase we had yesterday.
I sat
that's the only phrase, oh my God.
Couch, and I went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and then I called you.
All I had to say was, oh my God, oh my God.
I called you, and I said, that's the worst play I've ever seen a safety make in all of football I've ever seen. There are great plays that are remembered for being great, and there are plays that are remembered for being notorious. Most recently, you had this in Seattle, when they call in the Super Bowl a pass instead of handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
That's right.
And you can explain why you did it, but you can't excuse it. All Marcus Williams has to do, and what he should have done, and what everybody knows he should have done.
Hit him.
You get close to him.
Hit him.
He catches it. You wrestle him down inbounds. The clock runs out. The game is over.
Even if he falls out of bounds, they're going to have to make a 49 or 50-yard field goal.
We know
the Vikings don't make field goals to win games and put themselves further in the playoffs.
This play, it just can't happen. So I don't want to be told that the Vikings won the game because the Saints lost the game. And now the Vikings are a very worthy team.
The throw, and Diggs had to make the catch. He had the presence of mind to stay in bounds and score.
All of that is true. They were not trying to score on that play.
No, they're trying to get a field goal.
That was not a Hail Mary because you can't reach from where they started. They're trying to get out of bounds and kick a very, very long field goal. The Saints are the Vikings are a very worthy team, but that's an infamous play.
It is.
I feel bad for the kid.
And you know what? Again, in every sport, you have these. And they do, Tony. They last forever. Fumbles at the goal line.
That's right.
You know, the Denver Broncos, Ernest Biner, talk about a worthy professional football player. He had one of those. You have these, and you can't get away from it, and it does cost your team the game.
And even though it's explained away, you cannot excuse it.
He's 21. Don't you feel bad for him?
Do you listen to the show?
I just want you to. I'm just pressing. Just pressing on your answer.
Yeah.
Contrary to what was expected in this studio all week, the Jaguars beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, beat them down, shut them up, humiliated them by scoring 45 points. Leonard Fournette ran wild and offset Ben Roethlisberger's 5-touchdown passing day, which had kept the Steelers in it. Jaguars defensive lineman Malik Jackson said of the mouthy Steelers, quote, they didn't do anything. We stood there and we smacked them in the mouth, close quote. Tony, you want to praise the Jaguars or appropriately bury the Steelers?
Yeah, this is not as hard a choice for me as you might think. I'm going to bury the Steelers, and what I'm going to do is talk about I'm going to second-guess 2 calls, one a type of call and one a specific call that have me very confused to this moment. The onside kick,
inexplicable.
I don't understand. You have like 2
timeouts
and 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. So you push Blake Bortles back as far as you can, and you make him go all the way up the field. I don't understand why you can. And plus, it was such a terribly executed kick, laughably executed. The other thing I'll talk about, and I'm cognizant of the fact that Ben Roethlisberger on things like 4th and 10 threw touchdown passes. But on 4th and 1, he's 6'6", 270. We have watched Tom Brady do this every time.
We've watched Ben Roethlisberger do it for 15 years.
Why are you turning and handing the ball to Le'Veon Bell as good as he is? Why?
I'm glad you set me up for this. Because I'm predisposed to like the Steelers. They're just the team I like. Other than my own team, the Steelers. I like the Steelers. The way they play, the people they have. I like Mike Tomlin. I like almost everything. I love Ben Roethlisberger. You know that. For more than a decade.
I do.
Okay, I'm going to accept Ben Roethlisberger because he played. I'm going to accept him. And
well,
probably,
the first half, he was not very good.
He scored 42 in a playoff game.
That's right.
The Steelers were dogs.
Yeah.
They played stupid. They made dumb decisions. And I'm talking about the coaching staff and whoever calls some of those plays. They were dogs, Tony. Their defense, I don't know that it's possible to be a franchise as proud and as worthy as the Steelers. They ought to be embarrassed. They should have been booed.
Yeah.
What they did, they ran their mouths all week. And Steve Young cautioned us about the Steelers and hubris, and he knew something about that. He tipped his hand.
They go down 7-0 and 14-0 and 21-0 and then 28-7. And it's awful to watch it. I keep thinking they're going to come back the way the Patriots did, but no, it didn't happen. No. I'm going to sit here and give Blake Bortles some credit, too, because he completed only 14 passes, but each one averaged 15 yards. And by the way, Mike, when he runs, he gets first downs.
Listen,
he gets first downs.
And you can't say the defense. They made some timely plays, but once again, 5 touchdown passes, they scored 42. When you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you score 42 at home, you're supposed to win.
Right,
but some of your team just didn't show. What is up with that? What were they doing?
You can talk all you want about the Baltimore Ravens and their defense. The absolute emblem of defense in the history of the National Football League is the Steel Curtain. And it belongs to what team? It belongs to that team.
Dogs.
We're not going to talk much about New England beating Tennessee because it was 35-14. But after Jacksonville beat Pittsburgh to earn the right to play the Patriots for the AFC Championship, Jacksonville DB Jalen Ramsey had this to say to an adoring crowd back home.
Make sure y'all bring that same energy out here next week and the week after. We going to the Super Bowl and we going to win that.
I don't think he said win that ball game. I'm just going to take a shot at that. Wilbon, do you think the Patriots will prove Mr. Ramsey wrong?
Yes. Yes. I mean, what, you asked me if I'm doubling down? Yes. They've done a fine thing, Jacksonville. This is good for them. There's nothing to discredit them over. There's nothing to be suspicious about. It has nothing to do with them. The Patriots are going to crush them. That's what's going to crush.
That's your verb.
What did they do to Tennessee?
Crush.
You're looking at the same thing.
7-0, and then they came back and they.
So maybe there's a lead, maybe there's not. I don't see anything other than that. What do you see?
I'm going to give you this one thing, not in favor of Jacksonville, but how I would hedge my bet, and I would say something good about Jacksonville. The architect of 2 Super Bowl wins
where you going with this?
Over the New England Patriots is Tom Coughlin with the New York Giants. He is the architect of this team right now. The design to beat the Patriots is rush 4 guys, not 5, not 6, rush right up the middle at Tom Brady and see if he has to turtle. Now, I think the Patriots are going to win and win handily because I don't know that there's anybody in the world that can stop Rob Gronkowski. And I think at home, I think the Patriots are going to win. But the cautionary tale for me is Tom Coughlin.
Well, the cautionary tale for me is this. The people who have beaten New England in these monumental games, particularly in the playoffs, the Giants and the Ravens, they have this one characteristic in common. They're not afraid to hit Tom Brady in the mouth.
That's right.
They say, we're coming after you just the way you drew it up, Tony. And then Tom Coughlin knows that. But the Ravens and the Giants have had success at that. And Jacksonville seems to have something in common with them. But Tony, if you're going to also give up that many points, then how are you going to – you can't have a pretense of stopping Tom Brady if you give up that many points to Pittsburgh.
To me, the X factor is Bill Belichick. He's just better than everybody else. And Bill Belichick will look at Jacksonville as a team that can and will beat him. So how do we stop them?
Yes.
And he will make
We're taking them lightly, but Bill Belichick will not.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah. And he will make Bortles beat them, and that's going to be harder to do than someone else. And I think they're going to win. And I also wonder, and I said this about Buffalo last week, a week ago, whenever it was.
How did they score?
How did they score?
Right.
Jacksonville's not putting 45 on Matt Patricia's last game. He's not doing that. That's not going to happen.
You would think the Eagles won a championship Saturday to hear them tell it. It's us against the world, and they counted us out, and 24 other cliches directed at everybody, but largely at the odds makers, making the Falcons a road favorite.
Well, look at that.
Well, the Eagles won despite scoring 1 touchdown and did completely smother the Falcons. Tony, with this 1 win at home against a wild card team, did the Eagles prove anything significant to you? And if so, what?
They proved one thing. They proved they can, in fact, at the end of a game, win without Carson Wentz. This is very, very big for Nick Foles. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Nick Foles won the game. That's nonsense on my part. Their defense won the game. Their defense held Atlanta to 10 points, and you cannot, if you're Atlanta, who had scored, I believe, 24 points per game in the previous 4 wins that they had in 4 weeks, you cannot go on the road against the #1 seed and score 10 points and win.
What about some of the decisions they made?
Can't do it.
What about some of the decisions? I mean, you
that
look
Atlanta
at some
made?
The play calling seems unimaginative and at times inappropriate. You need to move the chains, as they say. So move them. Right. You don't need to score in chunks. You don't have to go to Julio Jones in these 4 situations all the time.
But I told you.
You got a complement full of players out there. But why did Atlanta do that?
Philadelphia has something to do with it. They have the #1 defense against the run.
Yeah.
And Julio Jones is the best guy out there. Even on the last play, which I think, even if it was complete,
he was out of bounds.
Would be out of bounds.
He was out of bounds.
He'd be out of bounds. That's who Matt Ryan looks for. But I think that Philadelphia proved to itself that they can win a game. Carson Wentz is really good, but Nick Foles isn't really bad.
He's not bad at all.
So that matters.
He's pretty good.
Matters.
And he's been really good in his career.
Not recently, but yes.
Okay, but I mean, Nick Foles, the last time he had a full opportunity as a starter over an entire season, he's pretty damn good, wasn't he?
Yes, he
All right, so maybe they proved something themselves. The way they talk all the time, I would think that they know they're pretty good.
They'll still be the underdog. They are the underdog
sure?
against Minnesota.
The line's out?
I think it's 3.5.
I know you checked that line.
Well, you know what? Forget checking the line. You talk all the time, and I think you're right, about how it's a quarterback league. And we always talk about how great the quarterbacks are. Here are the final 4 quarterbacks. Take Brady and put him over there because he's the best of all time. You got Nick Foles. You got Case Keenum. And who's my other guy in there? You got Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Are they in your top 5?
Quarterback league. You know what? You think that the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings is going to finally break down and actually give his quarterback some credit, which he doesn't do?
I think he'll threaten to
start. Is this a strategy?
I think he'll threaten.
Or is this just him hating his quarterback?
Let's take a break.
As my quarterback.
The Titans lost, but did Mike Mularkey really deserve to lose his job?
Man. And with Matt Patricia, the aforementioned, he's smart to take the Detroit Lions job over the New York Football Giants job.
I love the pencil in his ear. Mike Tice, remember when Mike Tice had a pencil in his ear all the time? When was the last time we talked about Mike Tice on this show? What do we look for in your emails? Relevant topics, complete sentences, and links to Amazon gift cards.
Stop begging.
Let's see what's first.
You know, you need some Robitussin. You get rid of that sore throat spray. Get yourself some Robitussin, some Wilbon's chili off that chatter menu. You're good.
I would be falling asleep right in front of you till I threw up. Did the Titans do Mike Mularkey dirty?
I don't know about dirty, but you know how we have to deal with this topic. We got to set this up, Tony. Last week, when it was seen he was in trouble, there was an actual vote of confidence. Usually the kiss of death, right? Except before the playoff game, there was pregame talk of him being extended, which was reported by the NFL Network, and it was even admitted to by people on the team. Yes, we talked about going forward. And then postgame, you're fired. But you know what? When you look like that and you lose and you don't seem to be going anywhere, I don't know about did him dirty. I'm not willing to go that far. Are you?
No, well, it's hard to see what he did wrong. He made the playoffs for the first time in X years.
Right.
And he won a playoff game.
Yeah.
Okay. Did John Harbaugh do that this year?
No.
Did Marvin Lewis?
Nope.
Did Jay Gruden?
Nope.
Are they fired?
No, but they could have been.
No, but they're not fired. Now, there's talk that this particular team wants Josh McDaniels. Everybody in the league who doesn't want Josh McDaniels wants Matt Patricia. Okay, because that's the way this looks. That's the way this looks. But what I would say to you is that Marcus Mariota right now is not Joe Montana. And that Mularkey did a very good job, and they hung him out and hung him out.
Well, and I do wanted him to replace his coordinators or assistants, and he didn't want to do that.
I actually do think they treated him dirty.
Dirty?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
Wow. And I don't know him.
I think it's that cough that's gotten to your head. Right. That's what's talking. Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
He's smart for reportedly picking the Detroit Lions over the New York Giants.
Well, the Giants are apparently going to take Pat Shurmur, so that's how that worked out. Matt Patricia is a defensive coach. If you're a defensive coach getting your first job as a head coach, you don't want to have to worry about the offense. They have Matthew Stafford, who Detroit thinks so highly of, that he is he's the most expensive guy in the entire league. So if you're Patricia, then you can walk in and you can say, let me concentrate on the defense and see what's going on here. Plus, I think the general manager is a former Patriots executive. Now, there's another part to this, and that is for all the talk about McDaniel and all the talk about Patricia, the pups of Bill Belichick.
They haven't done all that well.
They have not.
Yeah.
On college and in pro, other than Nick Saban, obviously, other than Nick Saban in college.
I think it's fine to pick the Detroit Lions because if it's a quarterback league, despite the profile of 3/4 of the conference finalist quarterbacks, then you got a quarterback in Matthew Stafford. You don't know what in Eli Manning at this point. Yes, Eli Manning 4, 5, 8, 10, 12 years ago, you're going to take them in large part because of Eli Manning.
He's on the way out.
But let me just say this. I'm going to shock you on behalf of taking the New York Giants job. They know how to and support. It's a culture which supports defense first. They've won championships with defense.
That's right.
The Lions haven't had defense since Alex Karras. They don't know from defense. So you're going to build something there that is totally foreign. New York Giants know how to win that way. I'm just saying.
I think for a defensive guy, the better job is Detroit.
Okay.
I do. If the Cavs beat the Warriors tonight, will you forget about their recent funk?
No. No, you don't have to forget about it. I mean, it should be forgotten in time. By the time we get around to March 1st, the Cavs should have played their way out of this unless, Tony, defensively they are too challenged because of lack of athleticism and age. And it's only old teams that win in the NBA. This is not like other leagues where you can win with youth. You can't. You got to be old. But they look so slow and unathletic defensively, you wonder without making a move if they have issues. They've lost 8 of 11. They need to have a good showing tonight, even if they don't win.
I put my tongue in the new thing of hot tea and almost burned 7 generations of Kornheisers. That's really hot, so I don't have a really smart answer about this other than this game is meaningless. All games...
Meaningless?
Yeah, all games...
Even to Cleveland? At home?
All games in January are meaningless because... In your right mind, do you think there's anybody out there that does not believe that the Golden State Warriors are the best team in the league?